what's up YouTube? Welcome to today's video where it is a crafting fractured disaster or fractured crafting disaster. And as you can see, this is me right here. I am very exasperated by the crafting and my divine orb stock just keeps going down. Now you might be wondering why am I trying to craft this item, and I pretty much am crafting the engraved wand right here. Now this item might look pretty crazy. +1 fizz, +1 spell skill gems, damage over time multiplier fractured, fizz damage over time. However, this is a very simple craft. Now, I guess I will teach you guys how to craft this item, but the moral of the story here is that the current crafting system is very prohibitively expensive for most people to do, and it's a little too much gambling that it really dissuades any newcomer from trying it. Now, I have a lot of money in the game, I have a lot of currency in the game, and for me personally, it's not about the currency I lost while crafting this disastrous wand. It's about the time spent trading, the time spent buying essences, the time spent buying life forces, the time spent buying sacred blossoms, and so on and so on. Now, as I said, I attempted to craft an identical wand to what I originally had on the engraved wand base. Now, the reason behind this is that this only requires 131 int. Now, this makes a big difference because right now I have to take this node on my Corrupting Fever build, and this node on the Elegant Hubris allows you to gain no inherent bonuses from your attributes, but it lets you ignore attribute requirements. Now this is pretty big because if you're magic finding, most of your gear doesn't have any attributes on it, and you can't really craft attributes on it. The only way you can get it is on your passive tree, and it's a big problem. So that's why when we want to use an imbued wand of 188 int, that makes it a very difficult thing to use, because that means we have to take this keystone. Now the downside of this keystone is that we lose a bunch of life. On my current character, I have a 323 strength, which means that if 2 strength equals 1 life, I'm losing 150 base life on my build. Now, if you add that all up, it's around 400 HP total that I'm losing on my Magic Find build, and I decided that I was going to craft this wand in order to allow me to be able to drop this keystone, get more life back, and maybe even save a passive point. But then the disaster happened. Now, you might be wondering where this all starts, and the disaster happened because I wanted to start the craft, and the only way to start the craft is you need an engraved wand with damage over time multiplier fractured on it, and I was browsing the trade site, and I found one person selling it, and this is where I made the biggest regret of my life. I saw this person selling it, right? He's selling it for 12 divines. He has it listed for 3 days ago, and this person right here, Tabby Ty or whatever the hell his name is. But basically, I was like, I'm going to message the guy. 12 divines seems like a fair price to pay. And yeah, I was going to buy it. But he refused to respond to me. And then he relisted the wand later on for 35 divines. So I just couldn't deal with that. That's when I took it personally. And then I decided to craft the wand myself. Now, obviously, I should have probably swallowed my pride. Decided to buy it for 35 divines. Now 35 divines is probably a gross overpay. I think a fracture costs around 4 divines per attempt roughly. So in this scenario, if you say it's a 1 in 4, it should technically cost like 16 to 20 divines, maybe 25 if you're unlucky. But I did decide to fracture it myself, and that is a complete disaster. Now, what happened was I ended up using 14 fractures in a row before I hit the fracture on damage over time multiplier. It ended up costing me over 70 divines before I was even able to finish the craft of the first step. So maybe 35 divines was not really a scam rate that much. Now, if you don't really believe me, I actually pretty much had a lot of little clips that I saved. So here's me trying one of the first ones. I did do a lot of these, and I didn't really include it all. And there you go, 11% fire res, and I am starting to hate my life. Now, the second one, this is the next one. And at a certain point, I also decided I'm going to do 2 at once, right? 2 at once, double the luck. There's no way it fails, right? So here we go, get it? And I'm trying to do the thing where I'm trying to hide my click so I don't really know what it is. And I'm kind of dumb because I actually didn't even click it. Now, right here, what do you think I'm going to get? So let me turn on the sound a little bit. 26 damage over time multiplier, spell damage, and fire. Dude, this is so shitty. I hate this fucking crap. Okay, maybe sometimes some people get a little too heated over it, but that's how I feel, right? I actually was getting very frustrated. Now 2 more, right? 2 more, no way it fails. So here we go. Dude, this crafting system is so bad. Okay, now you can see that I'm getting angrier and angrier as it goes. And here's another one. Now 4 at once, right? There's no way we can fail 4 at a time. 4 at a time, guarantee success, right? 2, 3, and 4. And I finally got it, right? And that's not even all of them. I think I had more, but I just couldn't really find it in the VOD. But as you can see here, let me show you my little stash tab of my failures, right? It's always a good thing to keep in mind about your failures that you might have. And I am pretty much broke after this crap. I literally have no more money left. I can't really play the game anymore. So you can see here, 11 fire res, 48% spell damage, 40% fizz damage, 101 mana, 11 cold res, 27% fire damage, 1 to 4 fire damage to spells, 18% spell damage, gain mana, 1 mana per enemy killed, 137 mana, 56 mana, 16% crit chance, 50 intelligence, and I had a few more ready to go, but thankfully I hit it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and on the 14th one it finally hit. I also did like 3 the other day, but I didn't really include it, so I actually hit 18 fractures before I finally got the one I wanted. Now, that begs the question, is the fracture weighted? I don't think so. I think I just got unlucky. But let me know down in the comments below if you've experienced this bad of luck when you actually did the craft. So maybe 35 divines was not such a scam rate after all. Now, something I actually learned is instead of using chaos, you can use the really, really cheap essences as a way of pretty much chaosing your item. And if you get a prefix, that guarantees you a higher chance of getting a suffix. So you can see here, you can do it like this, and it was a lot easier to do it like this in order to get damage over time multiplier. So that's just a little trick you can pick up, is use a screaming essence that guarantees you a prefix, and you should get a suffix a lot easier. So cheap essences is the MVP. So even though we've kind of messed up the craft, we did learn something after all. Now, a lot of people might wonder, how do you actually finish the craft, and was that smooth sailing? And it was really smooth sailing. So what you have to do right now is you want to get +1 spell skill gems alone on the wand with full suffixes. So what we do is use fossils. Originally, I was trying to alteration spam it, but I think the calculations were over 2,000 clicks or 1,600 alterations and augments. So I decided to use a trusty fossil calculator, which told me I only needed to use the fossil 4 times in order to get +1 spell skill gems. So as you can see here, this is when I actually got the fossils, and I decided to hit it, right? So you have to make the fossil rare. This guy is actually a moron, and that is me. So Rigo right here, we hit it once, didn't get it, no +1 spell skill gems, and then we're gonna do it again, right? Here we go, +1 spell skill gems, easy game, right? Or so you think. Now, once you're at the step, you will notice that your suffixes are full, and the next step in the craft has you craft on cannot roll attacks. Now, in order to craft on cannot roll attacks, that means we have to YOLO a null to get a free suffix, and that's the dreaded part, right? So at this point, I'm like, might as well hit it, right? And I think I hit it right there. So let's see, I'm about to do it. I'm thinking about it. What am I gonna do? Hit it, and we have a free suffix, and that allows us to craft on cannot roll attack. Now, what happens with cannot roll attack? Well, cannot roll attack means that when we add on an attack mod with 1, the only option that we can potentially have is +1 fizz as long as our suffixes are full. So as we can see here, let's go look at physical. So when you click on physical, you can see this one is attack mod, attack mod, attack mod, attack mod, no attack mod, and this one is no attack mod. So when we do it like this, all we have to do is pray when we use the augment physical craft or add a new physical modifier and remove another random modifier. So what this thing actually does is it actually adds it on and then removes it. So when it adds it on first, it will respect the meta mod that you craft on it, which is cannot roll attacks. So the only thing you need to pray and look out for is that when this happens, you want to get it so that you don't actually take off the +1 spell skill gems. So let's see here. I did cannot roll attack, and is it time to do the faded craft? So this is the next step of the craft. And right here I have it. This is a very expensive attempt. I think it costs around 7 divines to buy this because the 15,000 yellow juice is incredibly expensive right now. And it's time to go, right? Let's see my reaction. Wait, this weapon enchant is 5,000? Okay, I was really mad at this point. You can tell I'm not the happiest camper when it comes to crafting. 1, 2, 3. So here it goes, right? Exalt. I need to exalt. Should I exalt a prefix on? So theoretically, you can exalt a prefix on, and you can't really do that, right? Because you want to add a prefix. So if you exalt a prefix, then you cannot add a prefix because it's full. A prefix, you can't add anything, right? Well, look, I figured it out. What happens to the? All right, let's just go do. Nice. Does it even add anything if it's full? It can't do it, right? Okay. And we got lucky, right? We actually hit the +1 spell skill gems and didn't actually hit it off. So we have a +1 spell, +1 fizz. Now we might be at the last stage of the crafting. And at the last stage of the crafting, okay, let's just do it like this because some people like to see how it actually looks like on here. So you need damage over time multiplier. And ideally, let's go try to craft it out right here. Exalt. Okay, now we want to fracture it, right? So maybe we get lucky right here. Fracture time. Can you actually fracture on here? Well, you actually can't fracture it. So let's just say we fracture it manually. And then we use the fossil combo that we ended up using, which is corroded, jagged, metallic shuddering. Corroded, jagged, metallic shuddering. And the reason why this works is it blocks off a lot of the mods that are really common. And this allows it to have a very, very high chance of rolling it. So let's see if we actually get it right here. We didn't get it. Didn't get it. Didn't get it. Didn't get it. Okay, so we got +1 spell skill gem. So right now we have to null off a suffix. And now we got off the suffix. And now is where the magic happens. You go to suffixes, you go to crafted, you do cannot roll attack. So I hope this has helped out everyone who wants to craft this weapon. And just like some general crafting knowledge of this, how it occurs. And I did try to find a real life example. So augment fizz now, we pray, and then we got it, right? So sometimes you got unlucky. So you see right there, we removed the +1 fizz. So now we're pretty much done. And you could try to get a prefix. You could do ashling unveils. So you would want to do prefixes cannot be changed and ashling it until you got a prefix. So the next step does require you to have your prefixes full. So now after this, all you have to do is you craft on prefixes cannot be changed. And then you reforge fizz. Now the reason we do this is if you remember, the physical damage over time multiplier is the only physical mod left on this item. So all we have to do is reforge fizz. Now the only thing scary right here is you could potentially fill out your suffixes. Wow. What in the world? I got T1. I got T1. So if you can see right here, T1 is actually a 35 weighting. So if you get T2 or T1, you are very, very lucky when this happens. So obviously I'm of course lucky when it comes to the emulator. But as you can see here, there is a nasty scenario, which is your suffixes could be full, and this is really bad, and you would have to start annulling, and then you could just break your item technically, or yeah, you could break it like that. So you want to pray that you get a physical damage over time multiplier that is good enough, and then at this point, if you're satisfied with it, which you probably should be unless you want to break your item, you just go to the crafting bench and you craft on attack speed, or you can craft on attack speed and dex and int. Either works. And the last part is you can add on the harvest enchant. So you can see right here, this is me doing it. And let's see, I crafted on prefixes cannot be changed. 2 divine and a temp, right? Not that cheap. No. And this time I'm really scared because I could actually brick the item and have to go back to the start. There's no way it fills it up. Oh, nice. So we finally finished the item, right? So that's just a little bit demonstration how to craft the item. And then you want to go to your harvest bench and then you craft on weapon. What's it called? The quality attack speed. So you get something like this. Increase attack speed per 8% quality is actually relatively expensive. Now, the craft is not too bad to do overall. It's fairly deterministic. There is a lot of failures. But the problem is that even the simplest crafts are not beginner friendly. They're just so expensive. So the fracture is like 4 divines each, and it's a 1 in 4 chance. And then you get to the physical thing. Now this craft is just like 7 divines. And if you mess it up, then you have to restart. And it's just so expensive at so many steps. And there's too much gambling with no progress. Like if you actually messed it up and you filled up the suffixes, then you have to annul and potentially break the item and start all over again. Now, this is a really bad system in general because it really dissuades beginners from crafting. And this is why I highly recommend people, if you can buy the item, do not be like me or Rue, who decided to craft their own item for fun and ended up wasting like almost 100 divines crafting it because it's not worth your time. Not only does it feel really bad when you fail to craft because you lose currency, it also feels extremely bad to have to go to the trade site and do this, right? So you have to go to the trade site, you have to pray that these people sell you the life force, and it is not exactly the most pleasant experience. You go to 20,000 supply, and then you have to whisper like 5 different people to see who invites you or who might be price fixing, and it is a terrible experience. And that's pretty much my rant about trading and crafting, and hopefully a somewhat informative guide on how to craft the physical dot one for Corrupting Fever. And I do think that this is a very fun craft if you don't get unlucky. But if it exists, I would highly recommend you to buy it and save yourself the trouble if you hate gambling. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more Mirrors, Exalted Orbs, and Mage Bloods than me. And see you next time. Bye!